Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a big one, a concept you've probably heard thrown around the gym 1,000 times, the mind-muscle connection. So let's just get right to it. Is this whole thing for real? Is consciously thinking about the muscle you're working just some kind of bro science, or can it actually give you a real measurable edge in your training? I mean, this idea has been floating around the gym forever, right? You hear about the legends, guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who absolutely swore by this technique. They claimed it was a secret weapon for building their incredible physiques. But hey, stories from the golden era are one thing. Let's see what the science actually has to say. First things first, let's get a really clear definition. What are we actually talking about here? Stripped down, the mind-muscle connection is simply the act of focusing your brain, your intention, on the specific muscle you're trying to work. You're not just moving a weight, you're trying to feel that muscle squeeze, contract, and stretch through the entire movement. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. See, most people in the gym have an external focus. Their entire world is just about moving that weight from point A to point B. That's the only goal. But the mind-muscle connection flips that. It puts you in an internal focus, where the goal isn't moving the weight, it's feeling the target muscle do all the work. It's a small change in your head, but it makes a huge difference. Okay, so how on earth does just thinking about a muscle make it work harder? It sounds a little like magic, doesn't it? Well, it's not magic at all, it's all about neurology. Everything really starts with something called the motor unit. This is basically the command line from your brain to your muscles. Your brain sends a signal down a nerve, a motor neuron, and that single neuron activates a specific group of muscle fibers, telling them to contract. That whole team, the neuron and all the fibers it controls, is one motor unit. And this is the perfect way to think about it. Imagine your brain has a dimmer switch for your muscles. If you're doing an easy task, your brain just turns the lights up a little bit, recruiting only a few motor units. But when you need to do something really demanding, your brain cranks that dimmer switch all the way up, calling more and more motor units into action to get the job done. And your body is incredibly smart about this. It follows what's called Henneman's size principle. It always starts by recruiting the smallest, most efficient motor units first. As you need more and more force, it starts calling in the bigger, stronger units. And for an all-out, maximum effort lift, it recruits the largest, most powerful, but easily tired units last. So the takeaway here is that by focusing your intention, you're essentially telling your brain, hey, turn up that dimmer switch. We need to recruit more of the big guns for this lift. Okay, the science is cool and all, but does it actually work? Does all this thinking and focusing lead to better results in the real world? Well, the research says a big, resounding yes. Let's look at the data and see how this translates to actual, measurable gains. Get ready for this. A 2018 study showed that lifters who used an internal mind-muscle focus saw a whopping 12.4% more muscle growth in their biceps and quads, and the group that just focused on moving the weight, they only got 6.9%. That's nearly double the gains just from changing what they were thinking about. That is a massive difference. And here's another one for you. When researchers simply told a group of lifters to focus on your chest while they were bench pressing, they measured a 22% jump in muscle activity in their pecs. This just goes to show that a simple change in focus directly leads to a better, higher quality muscle contraction. So let's just sum up the payoff here. By using the mind-muscle connection, you make sure you're actually training the muscle you mean to be training. This makes every single rep you do more effective, which can seriously speed up your progress. And honestly, there's nothing more motivating than actually feeling your muscles working the way they're supposed to. Okay, so you're sold on the idea, I get it. But how do you actually do it? Let's get practical and look at some simple techniques you can use in your very next workout to start building this connection. All right, here's your toolkit. Number 1, and this is the big one, slow down. You can't feel a muscle if you're just throwing weights around. And that brings us to number 2, use lighter weight. You really have to check your ego at the door for this to work. A few other tricks, do some light ramp-up sets before your big lifts. You can even physically touch the muscle while you're working it. It sounds weird, but it works. And don't be afraid to give yourself verbal cues, even in your head, just thinking, squeeze the bicep. And finally, try to ignore your reflection. Focus on the internal feeling, not the external look. Of all those tips, slowing your reps down is without a doubt the most powerful one. So let's just take a closer look at why it's such an absolute game changer. It's all about the eccentric phase of the lift, what a lot of people call the negative.
This is when the muscle is lengthening while it's still under load, like when you're lowering the dumbbell during a bicep curl. This part of the movement is absolutely critical for muscle growth. By intentionally slowing it down, taking a full 3 to 5 seconds to lower the weight, you dramatically increase the muscle's time under tension, forcing it to work so much harder and creating a powerful stimulus to grow.
Now, here's a really important reality check. The mind-muscle connection is not something you should try to apply to every single exercise you do. It's a very specific tool for a very specific job. And this slide makes the distinction perfectly clear. For your isolation exercises, things like bicep curls, leg extensions, tricep pushdowns, your number one priority should be that internal focus. Really feel that muscle work. But for your heavy compound lifts like squats and deadlifts, your priority has to shift. The focus there must be on maintaining perfect form and safely completing the movement. Trying to feel your individual quad muscles during a heavy squat isn't just a bad idea. It can actually be dangerous. And there are a few other key things to remember. This technique tends to work a lot better for more experienced lifters who already have a good feel for their bodies. If you're a beginner, it might take some time to even build that awareness, and that's perfectly fine. And as we just talked about, it's just not the right tool for those explosive, raw power movements where speed is the main goal. So the big takeaway is clear. The mind-muscle connection is not bro science. It is a legitimate science-backed tool to make your workouts more effective and speed up your results. It's about shifting from just lifting weights to making every single rep count. And that leaves us with one final thought. Your brain is the single most powerful tool you have in the gym. The real question is, are you using it?